Let's play some APBA golf. I'm Scott Moeller, and today I'm going to play the ocean course at Kiawah Island, which is about 45 miles from my home here in Charleston, South Carolina. Um, the course itself is quite famous and has been featured in a number of PGA championships. The APBA version of that course is known as Palmetto Island. And this is a course that I've only played a few times. I've never actually played the ocean course, just to be clear about that. The ocean course is very difficult. And while it's a public course, it's really meant for really good golfers and professional golfers in particular. It's also quite expensive. So to play the ocean course, if you're not staying at the resort there, will cost you, depending on the season or time of year, will cost you anywhere from, I don't know, $360 probably on up to $500 to play. Now, with that, a caddy is included and needed, I might point out. But that also doesn't include any gratuity for the caddy. So, when you're all said and done, playing that course can really hit you in the pocketbook, particularly for a public course. Now, this is just a coincidental point. My son-in-law was the head caddy at Kiawah, but not for the ocean course. They have 5 different courses there, and he was the head caddy on a different course. He has played the ocean course, and he's a very good golfer, particularly for someone who is, a corporate executive by day and then, goes out on the weekend to, try to get in 18 holes and is mostly playing courses in and around the Charleston area. But he's caddied for some pretty famous people during the time that he was there, including, Michael Jordan and some others that you would know, but he would have less positive things to say about. He was quite impressed with Michael Jordan, particularly with the $1,000 tip that Mr. Jordan gave him. Okay, enough about the personal stuff. You didn't come to this channel to listen to that. You came here to play APBA golf or watch me play APBA golf and learn perhaps about Palmetto Island. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. I have chosen Mark O'Meara's 1992 season card to play this course. Again, I've only played it a few times. It's a long course, both geographically and in terms of the time it takes to play, in part because there are lots of hole notes and adjustments that you've got to make along the way, which tends to slow things down. You can decide for yourself whether that adds to the realism and makes it more fun for you, or if it detracts in some way because it just does take longer to play this course. So let me point out something here. You're looking at Palmetto Island, hole number 1, and I'm going to go ahead and disappear so I can enlarge things because I want to point things out over here on the course. Okay, so if you look down here on the left, lower left, as with every APBA course, you've got the legend that tells you what the different colored squares mean. And as you can see, we have the normal ones that include green, fairway, and tee and rough. But we've also got waste areas for this course. And that would include these areas here. They're kind of, at least on my screen, sort of a beige color. You also have marsh, which you can't see on hole number 1, but tends to look dark or sort of purplish on those holes. And then you've got deep rough, and you've also got dunes. And deep rough and dunes, to my eye, look very similar and are sometimes quite difficult for me to tell apart. These don't look that similar on the legend, but when you expand them and put them onto the actual hole itself, and some holes have both deep rough and dunes, and that makes it a little bit easier because then you can see which one has more speckles in it, and the more speckled squares are the dunes. And I believe that what we're looking at here on hole 1 are dunes. Now, the good news is that the way you handle it, if your ball goes into the deep rough or the dunes, is very similar. So if we get it wrong, it's not going to be that big of a deal. Okay. And then, of course, we've got water, which is in some cases the intercoastal waterway around Kiawah Island. And there may be spots on here that are also the Atlantic Ocean. I've kind of forgotten, but I think that that's the case. And then a few holes have trees. This isn't a pure links course, although it might as well be. There are a few holes that have trees. And of course, that's what these darker green squares are here. Now, if you just kind of glance down here and you look at all the course notes, this is just for hole 1. And these course notes on hole 1 also include things about the wind setting and how you determine it. This course has prevailing winds. And I'm not going to focus too much on what it says here in these 2 boxes because it's a little bit hard to read in such a small type on the screen. So I'll come over to the Game Caddy where it's the same information. It's just presented in a way that I think is a little bit clearer. And we'll talk about those things before we actually tee off because undoubtedly most or all these things will come into play. So let me come over here. I haven't done much to set this up, but what I have done is I have imported using the import course tool or button here. I've imported Palmetto Island. Okay. And that's what we're looking at on the screen here. And here are the course notes and terrain notes and these special feature boxes here. So I'm just kind of going to go through this with you fairly quickly and point out the same things that you would see on the APBA course boards themselves. All right, so these apply to the entire course. All shots landing in the waist area stop immediately. Number 2, all shots rolling into the waist area, you cut the remaining roll in half. Number 3, shots may not roll out of waist area. Number 4, before playing a shot from the waist area, roll 1 die to determine the lie type. If you roll a 1, it's the lie type is rough. If you roll anything else, it's sand, meaning we use the rough column or the sand column in the Game Caddy. Then you determine the lie in that medium before playing the shot. Okay, and the all-in-one menu in the Game Caddy will do that for us. Number 5, all marsh areas are played the same as a water hazard. And on the holes that do have marshes, they can cover a considerable amount of the whole area. And so if you think about it, in some of these cases, you're actually trying to hit tee shots to what are essentially islands because they're either surrounded by water or they're surrounded by marsh or very narrow peninsulas. Number 6, deep bunkers. And the only official deep bunker is on hole number 14. And that's the sort of the standard deep bunker rule that you'll see on a lot of APBA courses. If the PRN is between 13 or 23 and 23, or 25 and 35, it means the ball stays in the trap and you have to hit again from that same location. Number 7, shots landing or rolling into dune areas stop immediately, just as they would in the deep rough. Play these areas as a buried lie from the rough, which is what you do with deep rough. And if not using the lie charts, play dunes of sand with a maximum club of a 7-iron. Well, we are playing with the master game rule, so that particular rule we won't need to pay attention to, but there are other master game rules that are go into effect whenever you're playing with the buried lie, and the game caddy will abide by those. All right, so here's the prevailing winds information. Before starting the round, roll 1 die to determine prevailing wind type. If we roll a 1 through 5, it's a type A. If we roll a 6, it'll be a type B. And again, prevailing winds refer to the direction that the wind is blowing from and to, and it stays the same throughout the round, depending on whether it's type A or type B. And then there's some exceptions here. Change all wind types on normal wind chart, except swirling or no wind, to the prevailing wind type for that hole. Again, that's a standard rule or notation or course note that you see on a lot of different APBA courses, and the game caddy by default does just that. Okay, and you'll notice we don't have any quartering winds. And I've only played this a few times, and I didn't come across any quartering winds, but there's no hole notes pertaining to there's no special feature notes pertaining to quartering winds, so I'm assuming we don't have any. I am going to pick 2 holes to measure our 2 club average driving distance, and I'm going to pick 2 par 5s. That'd be hole number 7 here and hole number 11 on the back 9. And so far I've been finding that the average driving distance for these 2 holes has been somewhat farther than the average driving distance for all non-par 3 holes. So let's come over now to the conditions tab and go to the configuration settings and set this up for the master game rules. And then by default, it chooses the master lie types, which we'll keep. Mark Amira, of course, is not an LPGA player, so we'll keep this on original. We need to use the modified wind setting because of the prevailing winds, and I'll select auto roll. I'm going to keep it on the original dog leg procedure, meaning that shots that pass through the dog leg from the inside to the outside will be affected by that dog leg in terms of being either pushed right or left. And I'm going to select the dog leg roll distance adjuster type A, which again affects how the grid lines are counted in the game caddy to more closely simulate what you would do if you were to count out everything manually yourself. And I'm going to leave everything else the same in the default settings, including using the regular putting boards. This is a tough course. We don't need to make it any more difficult by selecting the major championship boards. So I'll go ahead and apply those settings. Now I'm just going to roll for everything. So I'm going to roll here for the pin number. It's a 1 die roll is a 5. I have not played that pin number before, so we'll click on this until we get a 5 up there. And now this is a J-rated course. I know courses like Seaside and Palmetto Island, meaning Pebble Beach, and the Ocean Course. Yes, they are windier courses. The personal problem that I have with any course that's J-rated is you can never have a calm day. Trust me, you can have calm days on these courses in reality, but you just can't if you stick to the ratings that APBA uses for both Seaside and Palmetto Island. And the odds of getting even a moderate wind are very small. As you can see over here with a J rating, only a roll of 11 to 16 ends up being a moderate rating. Everything else is blustery. To me, that's a bit harsh and not in keeping with my own personal experience, particularly living in this area. Okay. And I know it's a little windier on the ocean than it is maybe even 5 or 10 miles inland like I am. But I've been to the ocean plenty of days when the wind isn't knocking you over. Okay. So let's go ahead and roll. Enough of my beefing about that. So the roll is a 56. That means we're going to have blustery wind conditions. And let's see what the course conditions are going to be. Hopefully they're not going to be something awful like wet or soaked or hard, because this course will be very difficult to play if we get that. So we get an 8 here. So we'll have normal course conditions. Thank you for that. And now we need to roll for the prevailing wind type. Remember, 1 through 5 is an A, 6 is a B. We got a 1. So this will be a type A wind. All right. And again, you don't have to fill this out yourself when you're playing, but I do, because this will go into my database. All right. Let's go ahead and get set up here. I'm going to use Caddy 1 for Mark Amira. Talking a little trouble talking today. And I said this is the 1992 season card. All right, and his average W is a 6, average I is a 5, momentum is a 3, bounce back is a 1, sand is 0, working the ball to the left is C, to the right is B, clutch, I just fill that in, but not going to use it too. And then unfortunately has a scramble of -1. And then because of this 6.5 rating, I'm going to go ahead and pick the usual 2 clubs that I pick under these circumstances, which would be the 4-wood, 2-iron, and 3-iron. Whoops. And let's go ahead and load hole number 1. And I'll show you the course after I load the hole. All right, 11. So again, with blustery wind, 26 or less will be no wind. We could click on tailwind here for the A, but to save time, I'm just going to go over here and click on continue. All right, so let's take a look at the course. All right, Palmetto Island. We got a little gentle dog leg here. Our pin position, and I'll use my reddish pinkish marker here to mark the pin position. I think it was pin 5. I'll double check that when we go back there. But as I recall, that's what we got. So it's kind of there in the back left of the green. And we got water here around the green, which can certainly come into play on second shots. So with this water over here, and it's as close as 40 yards from the center line there, but he won't hit that far. But he could end up over in this mess here with a driver. I'm gonna go ahead and hit a driver off the tee, and let's hope for the best. The wind is the only hole note that we have to worry about on hole number 1. Let's open this up. Yeah, the driver is selected. Not going to aim or anything. 23 is a 7. Thank goodness. And it's not going to be his average W, so we'll just go ahead and take the shot. I feel like I'm forgetting something. Oh, I wanted to double check the pin number. That's what it was. Yeah, pin number 5. Okay. So 250, left 10, and that's going to hit in the fairway, and then we're going to get 25 roll. So 275, left 10 in the fairway. And let me show you where he ends up. So 250 left 10 and ends up at 275 left 10. We'll be short-sighted for the second shot, and that's absolutely okay. Pretty close to the center line there. Okay, second shot here. Got a carry objective of 130. We got no wind. A pitching wedge will go 130, but it'll probably back up 5 yards. I could knock down a 9-iron, but then there's a good chance I'd go off the back of the green. So I don't have an ideal club here to pin seek, but I'll just go ahead and hit a pitching wedge, and hopefully we get a decent roll here. 13 is a 5. That is his average eye, but I am not going to take the bonus because I do want to go left here. So this is going to go, it carries to 405 left 5, which is the pin location, but then it backs up 5. And without even going over the course board, you can tell that that's going to be one straight away. So go ahead and put that in the putting caddy, and that means we've got a 6-foot putt for a birdie opportunity. And there's no putting adjustments, so we'll just go ahead and take this. 15, that's great, that's a 9. And we've birdied the first hole. All right, excellent. Hopefully our luck will continue. Let me go ahead and load hole number 2. And pull that up here. This one's got a couple of dog legs. See, we got a 26. Again, that means we have no wind. And let's see what our hole notes tell us. All right, severe dog leg at 270, and then another severe dog leg at 485. And remember that with second dog legs, those effects only come into play if you're blocked by trees, which is possible on this hole with that second dog leg. And it says if using aiming rules, all right, so this is a little bit different than how you would normally do it with the master game rules. And I'm assuming, again, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm not, but I'm assuming that this overrides the master game rule as opposed to being in addition to the master game rule. So it says if using aiming rules from tee, subtract 5 yards from the flight if aiming 35 to 40 yards off center. Subtract 10 yards if 50 yards off center, and then deduct an additional 5 yards from the flight for each 5-yard increment over 50 yards off center. Okay, well, I'm not going to aim anywhere close to that amount, but I am pointing out the note. And I'm assuming that that replaces the normal rule, which is you would lose 5 yards for every 15 yards you aim off the center line. So I assume replaces versus in addition to, but I have no idea if I'm correct about that. But I'm only going to aim 10, and I'm going to aim 10 to the right. So I'm looking to hit the ball somewhere around here. All right. Put that in. We do have a momentum that we could take. I'm not going to use it on this particular hole. And let's just hit a driver and see what happens. 65 is another 7. So this will go 250 right down the center line, which clears that waist area by a good amount, and then hits the fairway and rolls another 25. So we'll be at 275 right in the center line, right in the fairway. So let me go ahead and show you where I think the ball is, right here, 275. There's no actual number there, but that's because it's where the dog leg begins. Well, maybe at 270 it begins. And then pin number 5, where is that? That's right back over here. And this is the marsh area here that I was talking about. Actually, it looks, I said kind of purplish. Now that I look at it, it looks a little more kind of gray, dark gray. But think of this as water, because if you hit into it, you play it like, it's in the water. So what we want to do is we want to kind of lay up to here probably. I don't know if he can reach the green or not. Let's see what our carry objective is. It's 275, and Amira's doesn't hit the ball generally that far. So we might want to lay up to around 475, 480, somewhere over here. It's a par 5. And again, the APBA rule is you can't aim on a par 5 unless you're going for the green. And realistically, I can't hit the green. And if I was going for the green, I'd have to hit over these trees here too. Now, I don't, and we would look to the front here, and we wouldn't be blocked. These trees would not block us to the front of the green. Now, if we were up here somewhere, it would be a different story, but the ball's back here. So we don't have to worry with any of that stuff. So I want to kind of hit it over here. I am on the center line. The alternative way that I play, and I think I'm going to play that way today, is on a par 5, you can aim as long as you're hitting across the center line, meaning you can aim on a par 5 on the second shot as long as you're hitting across the center line. I can't think of any reason why in real golf you wouldn't be able to do that. So that's the rule, kind of a homebrew rule that I'm going to use for this round. And in truth, it's how I usually play. Some other videos, you won't see me do that because I'm trying to teach people, the rules as they are. But if you've seen those videos, you'll notice that I'm going to do it slightly differently today. So because I'm on the center line, whether I hit left or right, I would be hitting essentially across the center line, but I want to hit to the right. And I think I'm going to aim something like 15 right, which will have an aiming distance adjustment of 5 yards. And if I put 475 up here, it means I want to hit, somewhere around 200, 205 total, which would be maybe a 4-iron. So I'm going to choose a 4-iron here. All right, let's do it. So a 45 is a 7 again. Seems to have a bunch of those. All right, and then I'm not working the ball, I'm aiming. So this goes 450, right 10, and that's in the fairway with 10 roll. So 460, right 10 in the fairway. So that ball ends up right there. I'm going to be short-sighted, but that's okay. I didn't want to get over into this mess over here. All right, so I'm within approach caddy range at 90 yards, and where it's targeting me, of course, by default is that spot right there. I'm just going to leave it there. I'm happy with that. So and we're hitting from the south. Let's open up this, select 75 to 100. Take the shot. 22 is a 4 in the A column. So this ends up going 555, right 5. And you can see, again, the pin location is 550, right 5. So it went 5 yards past. And that's going to be that spot right there, which will be 1 straight again. So put 1 straight down here. 6 feet for another birdie opportunity. Let's go over. We don't have any putting stuff to worry about with here. 23 is a 21, and the P column from 6 feet is in. We've got a couple of birdies going here. All right, that's good news. Let's load hole number 3. You're probably thinking at this point, boy, this Palmetto Island's pretty easy. I don't know why Scott made such a big deal about how difficult the ocean course is. Well, again, in my experience, the front 9 on this course is easier, in fact, much easier than the back 9. but that doesn't mean you can't rack up a 7 or an 8 on, any of these holes, particularly the ones that have water or marsh on them. So now we do have some wind. 63 A is tailwind. So we got a par 4 here. Again, we have momentums, but we have swirling wind because of that roll. So let's take a look at the hole. Here's our pin location, pretty close to the center line. And you'll notice this red circle here around the green, and there's a whole note that pertains to that. You've also got marsh area over here, which again is treated like water. I think this is deep rough here, and I think this is dunes area right here. Notice again, on holes that have both of them present, it's a little easier, at least for me, to tell the difference. Okay, let's come back here. We also have a dog leg here. We've got a normal dog leg at 270, which we can see right over here. All right, and so the notes here, using aiming rules, all second shots. Okay, so this is, again, I've not seen this particular note on other courses, although it may be there. Player may aim if ball is on or left of the center line, but must always target the center line if ball is right of the center line. So ideally, you want to end up left of the center line so you can pin seek. But in this case, if we're not, again, that pin location is not that far off the center line. WI shots landing between the red line and the green. Remember that red line that circles the green. You ignore whatever the stated roll is, and the ball will roll 5 yards away from the green and stop. All right, and then read all putts 1 column longer than the actual distance. And again, this is a par 4 with swirling wind. Because of the swirling wind, I'm not eager to take this momentum point. Let's just go ahead and hit a driver. And I'm not going to make any adjustments for that dog leg. A 44 is a 4. So this will go right. So we won't be affected by the dog leg unless this wind does something crazy. Because this ball's going to go to the right. Well, it gets pushed 5 to the left and it loses 15 yards carry. So it ends up at 250, right 10. That's going to be in the fairway. And then we get 25 roll. So we're at 270, right 10 in the fairway. And the ball is, well, this is, I guess that's 270, right 10 with the grid line. Now, you'll recall for second shots, if you're right of the center line, then you have to target the center line. In other words, it's the same as being short-sighted, which we are anyway. So no big deal. All right. So carry objective 120. We need to knock this shot down. So I'm going to go with a pitching wedge, knock it down because of that swirling wind. Well, I said target. We're short-sighted, so it's not like an approach shot where we would have to target the center line. But I don't want to hit across the center line with this iron shot. Our roll is a 31, and in the I column, that's a 5, which will go left. I don't want to go left, so I'm going to take the average I on that, reduce it 5 yards, and hopefully we don't get a lot of wind here. We got no wind. So this shot goes 395 and then backs up 5. So we're going to be one straight away again, I think. So 395 would be right there. It's on the center line, backs up 5. So it would be right there. So we're one straight. We're 11 feet and we got that one, all putts 1 column longer. So come over here and select that. Let's go for it. 31 is a 22. And all right, so in essence, this is what this is doing. Okay, so it would be normally using this column here for 11 feet. We would miss by 1 foot, but now it's going to use this column with that roll of 22. So it should miss by 3 feet. Yep, there we go. Putt result, 3 feet. And it's for all putts. 36 is a 24, and that's in. All right, so we parred that hole. Let's move on to hole number 4. So you can see with this course, it pays to be accurate off the tee. We've had a couple of rolls that for some players would not have worked out well, but we're fine with O'Meara because of his W column. So our dice roll here's a 63. What's that? With a tailwind, means we're going to have now another swirling wind. All right. We've got add 5 yards roll to all shots landing on the green. Put that in there. Excludes, it excludes short approaches. And this is, well, we could leave it there. I'm just going to take it out because we're not going to reach the green. This is a par 4, 450 yards. And then first putts left to pin, read result 1 column longer than actual distance. Read other putts normally. Our pin location here, that's good news because we're not likely to be left of the pin there. Again, this is marsh area here. So think of that as water. You're basically hitting to like this little island or peninsula, whatever you want to think of this as, for your tee shot. So we're not going to use a driver because you can get too much right-left dispersion with a driver. I'm going to hit 4 wood and I'm going to try to aim maybe 10 right to over there. So 10 right, 4 wood, 13 is a 6. That's his average W, and I'll take it. And we lost 5 yards and 5 yards left. So it ends up going 225, right 10. That'll hit in the fairway with 15 roll. So we're going to end up at 240, right 10. And I'll show you where that is. And we missed all these bunkers here. All right, and now we have a good angle if we want to do anything with that. And I may. All right, now we want to add the 5-yard green roll. And we want to aim, I'm going to aim 5 left. 210. That'd be maybe a 3-iron. Try that. 43, 33. This is going to go long, I think, depending on what that wind does. So the wind doesn't do anything. So 445 left 10, that's great. And then we're going to get 15 green roll. So this is 45 left 10, 15 green roll, 1, 2, 3. So we're 2 straights away this time, and we're not left of the pin. So a 22-foot opportunity for a birdie. Do we go for it or play it safe? He's got a 6 on a 33. I'm going to go for it. Change the default here. 11. Well, that would have been in for me either. That's a 3. So, wow. Getting our dice rolls so far. So 3 under after 4 holes. Fantastic. I love when I have rounds like this, but they rarely stay like this. Not to be negative, but just to be realistic. The numbers have a way of regressing to the mean. Okay, hole number 5. Okay, so this thing stuck on 63. This is pretty unusual. Let's see, but now we have, see, cross wind left, but it's going to change the swirling wind again because of those prevailing winds. Yeah, that's weird. 3 in a row, I think. And first putt's crossing the center line, read 2 columns longer than usual. This is a par 3. So our ball marker needs to go there. But if we end up with our shot over here, then we got to be 2 columns longer. So we want to be on the, certainly on the right of the center line if possible. And we've got a momentum to use, but again with swirling wind. But you know, now I might make an exception. Let's see. One other thing I want to point out on this, hopefully we don't end up in it, but again, now you can see the contrast again. This is dunes area, whereas I believe this is deep rough. I can see the contrast there, but I can't always see it when there's no contrast. I mean, I can't always distinguish which is which. All right, so the distance is 180 carry objective, so that's an I. So that would go to the left, unfortunately. Now, if we put the ball in the center line, we're not hitting it across the center line. So that would free us up from the 2 column business. So if we do a 5-iron, see a 5-iron, and if I knock it down, that's going to go 175. And then it's going to roll 5. That's about the best I can do. It's not going to put me really close to the pin, but it should avoid the 2 columns longer, I think. So let's use one of the momentums. And you know, I could use a longer club to get the distance, but then I can't knock it down. So that's specifically why I'm doing this. Because no telling where that wind could blow us. And there's I think like a 50-50 chance when you have swirling wind that you'll get some wind. Okay, and so average I is a 5, and we're going to take that. Let's just see what happens here. So yeah, now we're going to lose a little bit of yardage here. So this may not work out all that great. So that'll be cut in half. So what it does, of course, is we lose 5, but the shot went 175, so it ends up at 170. And because I use the average I bonus, it puts the ball at 170, which hits on the fairway, which is fine. And then we get 5 fairway roll. So we're going to make it to the green, but just barely. So let me show you where it is. So the shot goes 60, 70. We get 5 fairway roll. So we're going to be a diagonal and a straight away. So I'm not going to fool with any of the other stuff. I'm just going to come over here and put those numbers in and do calc. So 27 feet away, but without the extra 2 columns. All right, let's come over here. 27, we'll play it safe from 27. Let's see, I would put it up here. Yeah, we could go for it. I'll play it safe. I don't want to get too greedy here. 45, I would have missed that if going for it. 17, missed it by a foot. And then the second shot, 35, is a 10. In. All right. So we parred that hole. That's fine. Let's look at hole number 6 here. $15, finally, no 63. So no wind. And here's what this hole looks like with our pin location down here. And that might have been wrong what I said about the blustery wind, that you have a 50% chance of getting a second roll with wind, or first. Was it a first roll? Anyway, I was thinking, I believe that that's for moderate wind, not for blustery wind. I think the probabilities are significantly higher when you have blustery wind. So it's easy enough to look at the course boards, but I'm not going to take the time to do that. All right, so what do we got here? We got a normal dog leg at 290 and no wind. Tee shots landing in fairway. Roll 5 yards right for every 20 yards of roll. And this dog leg takes you to the right as well if you go through it in that direction. So it could end up over here. He's not such a long hitter unless I get a number in the 30s. But I'll aim 5 left anyway, because I will probably get 25 yards roll if I get a decent shot. So 5 left. Driver. 33 is a 4, so that went right. So we'll go to the outside of the dog leg, I think. 265, right 10. And that's going to be in the fairway with 25 roll, but then we got to go 5 right as well because it's more than 20. All right, so 290, right 15. And that will be in the intermediate rough. Yeah, so let's take a look at 290, right 15. It hits in the fairway right here, but then somewhere right there, and then it rolls to 290, right 15, and that is intermediate rough right there. All right. So short-sided 190. No wind. I think I'm just going to hit a 5 iron. .31 is a 5. I'll take his average eye bonus. So don't want to go too far left. So we had a lie adjustment that I didn't see because maybe this was on the second roll, so I wouldn't have been able to see it. So it went 5 left because of the intermediate rough. That was a dice roll that the all-in-one menu did for us. 465 left 5, and then we're going to get 5 roll regardless. So 465 left 5 roll 5 is right there. So we're going to be a diagonal and 2 straights away. And that's going to leave us with a 46-footer. And we'll play safe. 36. I roll a lot of 36s. I don't know if that's an Excel thing or what it is. 4 feet away. 56. 24 is in. All right. So another par. Let's move on to hole 7. And this is going to be one of those holes where it's going to factor into our 2-hole driving distance. It's a par 5. 31. We'll have a little wind here. We'll have a little headwind of 5 yards. All right, let me show you the hole. Oops. Got to put it up here. All right, there we go. So got some unusual things on this hole. Here's our hole location right there in the back. Looks like it's about 590, 5 right. This is a red line here, and the hole notes will address that. But basically, if you end up between the red line and the rough area around it, it plays like a deep bunker. So this is waste area. It's not a sand trap. This hole doesn't have any sand traps. It's all All this stuff here is waste area. And that's another thing. It can be a little bit hard to see on some holes, the difference between waste area and sand trap, but there's no sand traps showing up on this one. Okay. All right. I'm going to aim 5 left. Yeah, this is, if you go right, you can end up with either dunes or waste area, which can affect how far you can hit your next shot, and how well you can hit it. But I don't want to hit a 4-wood because it's a par 5. All right, so let's go ahead and hit the driver, aim 5 left. 31 is a 5. That's going to go left. That's not our average W. So this goes 255 left 20 with 25 fairway roll. All right, so that's in the rough. So we'll only get 15 fairway roll. 1, 2, 3. And I'm just in the regular rough there. Oh, 15. Yeah, so aiming 5 left didn't work for me. Particularly not, because now I've got a buried lie. I've got the ball above my feet. So I've got a maximum 7-iron club restriction here. I can't work it down, knock it down. I don't really need to, but so basically I'm just going to hit a 7-iron. There's not much for me to do here. We got fairway up ahead. 46 is a 6 in the I column. And we got push 10 left because of this ball being above feet. So it ends up going altogether 20 left. So 410 left 20. That's not good. I'm going to end up in waste area. All right, and the ball stops. When you land in waste area, just stops. And then we have to figure out whether we're in a rough column or sand column. So we'll update this. I'll roll here. A 1 is a rough. Everything else is sand column. I got a 4. So it's going to be a sand column shot from there. We got some other notes here I didn't read. Shots landing or rolling on fairway or rough behind the green. Okay, well, that would be our next shot. Shots landing and rolling fairway rough left of green, that would be our next shot. And then shots from waste between rough and red line. So I was talking about before, ball remains in the waste bunker. All right, no change to location. All right, well, we don't have a red line where we are here. All right, carry objective is 190. That's a good angle, but I'm hitting from the sand column. So I'm going to hit a 5-iron, and I'm not going to do anything with it. I'm just going to hit a 5-iron. 65 is a 6. Yeah, so 575 right 10, and then 5 roll. 60, 75 right 10, 5 roll. So I'm a diagonal and a straight away. For a birdie opportunity, 29 feet. All right, and then no putting restrictions here. So we'll play it safe. 24, so 28. Missed it by 3 feet. And then 25 is a 14. It's a good putter. In. Parred that hole. All right. Let's load hole number 8. What do we have here? 53. 53 headwind. So we've got a variable headwind here. We won't know the effect of that till after we take our shot. We've got a par 3 here. Shots landing on green, bounce forward 5 yards before taking any other roll. put a 5 in there. 185 is the carry objective. And let's take a look at the pin location. It's right up here in the front. Okay. All right. We need to hit a knockdown because of this headwind. So I'll hit a 5-iron knockdown. I may not get to the green. You know, that's just the reality of it. But that's what I'm going to do. And am I going to work the ball? Not with the C to the left. Okay. Oh, double ones. I should, depending on what the wind does there, I should make the green. 4 in the I column. No wind. So 180 right 5 with 10 green roll. Well, I'm not going to hit the green, so I get 5 fairway roll. So 180 right 5. So I end up right there. 1, 2, 3 straights away. Okay. 36 feet. And we'll play that safe. 46 is a 26. 3 feet. 15 is a 9. It's got to be in, of course. And another par. All right, so we stay at 3 under through 8. Let's go to hole number 9. Let's see, what am I doing here? .35, headwind again. So we're going to lose 5. Okay, so let's look at the hole. Par 4, hole number 5 is right there. Got a dog leg here that he's not likely to reach. Got some water way over here. Hopefully that's out of reach. And this is marsh, but that plays as water. Okay. So I think I'm going to play this maybe 10 to the right. Hit a driver. And you roll left for every 5 yards. Roll left 5 for every 15 yards of roll. So yeah, so 10 to the right. 63 is a 7. So this goes 245 down the center line, but it's going to roll 25, so we need to go 5 left. First of all, it sits in the fairway. I should just make that clear. So 5 left because we're going to go more than 15 yards, but not 30. So put a 25 in there. All right. And so that's going to put us at 270 left 5, which is the fairway. Right there. Okay, and we got a good angle now for our second shot. Oh, shots rolling on or past 275. I didn't realize you had to reach 275 before that comes into effect. So I really need to make an adjustment here, which is easy to do. I just, what I'm going to do, all right, so I let this go 5 yards farther to the left than it should have. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this back. It won't actually make any difference in this case, but I'll change it just in case you don't know how to fix something like that. All right. So if I hadn't gone 5 to the left, this would have ended up at 270 on the center line. So I'll come over here to the eraser tool. I'll select hole shot 1 because that's our last shot. You always select the last shot number, whatever it is. Okay. That erases that. And then you come over here to the place ball location tool, and we'll just put 270 in there And we'll leave these blank because it's on the center line and it's on the fairway. Okay. And again, we still have a good angle. So didn't change anything in this case, but I wanted to get it right. All right. Short approaches from greater than 450 yards. Well, that's if we miss the green on this shot. So add some extra putt distance there. So 235. 4-wood is maybe too much club. A 2-iron is probably not enough club. We got normal course conditions. So if we get 20-25 roll with that, I'm going to hit a 2-iron. It may not be enough club. And then we'd end up in that situation where we got to deal with that. But here it goes. 52. Well, I don't know if it's enough club or not, but the ball didn't go anywhere good. Hopefully it did not go into that marsh. Oh, it goes right. Okay, so 460, right 30 with 20 fairway roll. 460, right 30, 20 fairway roll. 460. So we'll only get 10 roll, which will put us there. Boy, that's pretty close to being in the rough. I'm going to say that that's in the rough. There might be a little tiny green space in there, a lighter green, but I'm going to say it's in the rough. So we'll be at 470, left, right 30. And we'll be short-sided. And now we got to deal with this because we're past the 450-yard mark. All right, hitting from the south, the pin is where it's targeting by default is right there. I'm happy to leave it in that location. And call up the all-in-one menu. Call distance is 40 yards. 41 in the A column is a 6. So it ends up at 500. So it goes right where we were targeting. So ends up right there. That's one straightaway. That's the first thing we got to determine. So that turns out to be 6 feet. And then we've got to roll one die and add it to that. So let's do Control D. So one die is a 1. We got lucky there. So it's now just going to be 7 feet. So I'll come over here and change that 6 to a 7. And we got the ball on the green. And this is for another birdie opportunity here. 46, that's not a good roll. 26, it's going to be 2 feet away. And then 52 is a 21 in. All right. So finished up there with a bunch of par. Oh, that was a bogey. My bad. I totally missed that. I forgot that that was a bogey. Yep, because we were not on in 2. All right, so we're 2 under after 9 holes. What do we got over here that's worth looking at? 71% fairways, 89% greens in regulation. You know, that's pretty darn good. I had a putt of 22 feet for a total length putts of 50 feet. So, and I say only 15 putts. That's actually probably a bit more than average, but that's in part because our greens in regulation are so high. All right, let's load hole number 10. As I say, things for me anyway get tougher on the back nine. 61 headwind. And we actually have a headwind. All right. We got a bounce back here, and I'm inclined to take it. I think. Well, wait a minute. I have to think about this. Because his average W is a 6, right? Let's see what else we got here. Tee shots, landing, rolling through, past 320. That's not going to happen, I don't think. Let's see. Shots from waist area, right of fairway, treat as poor lie in fairway. Bunker, if using lie charts. If not, well, we are using the lie charts. Okay, so let's take a look here. So 255 is the driver length. So 255 is here, and that's going to go right 15. We can change it to 10. Right? 15 is there. It would hit in the waist area if we took our average W, because we can't aim. So I can't use the bounce back point here. I could, but it wouldn't make any sense to do it in this situation. All right. Now, why that would be the case in real life, I have no idea, but we can't do that. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to aim left 15. I'll lose 5 yards, and we'll hit the driver. Let's see what happens here. 55. That's a 5. That's going to go left as well. Let's see what the headwind does to us. And oh goodness. So the wind did us no favors here. If we had just taken the bounce back point with this wind, we would have been fine. But you can't count on that happening. So 225 left 45. And if I get any roll, we got 25 fairway roll. So let's see if that's regular rough or not. Yep, it's on the line. So we'll count that as regular rough, and 25 fairway roll means 15 regular rough roll. So that ball ends up there. So 15 roll. All right. 225. Pin location is not bad for this hole right there. We could hit the 4 wood and hope for a little wind, maybe. All right, let's do that. 32. Oh boy, that's a 25. Well, we got a little wind, but he just muffed the ball. 315 with 25 roll. I mean, it was a muff shot. You can see here the shot result was carry 100 with 25 roll. So 315. Well, we'll be in the fairway. So put the 25 there. So we end up at 340 in the center of the fairway. And got a good angle now. 105 yards carry objective. This goes 110. That would be perfect, but I want to knock it down. I'm going to hit a gap wedge and knock it down. Am I going to aim right 5? Oh, why not? Double. Should have gone with a sand wedge. 11 is a 4. Let's get some big wind here. Now knocking it down eliminated that. So 460 right 10. You can see we went way past here. So 460 right 10 is going to be, that's 445 there. 55, 60 right 10. It hits in the actually intermediate rough, the way I calculate that, and no roll. So we're going to be in the intermediate rough in that spot, which will play like fairway from that distance. 15 to pin. 12 to 14. Well, our dice roll luck has run out on us here. 10 feet away. And this is also for a bogey here, a 10-foot putt. 56, not going to get. We may double bogey this. 2 feet. 36 again. Number comes up a lot for me. In. So a 6. So we're back. We're at even par now. After all that, it's back 9. What I tell you. All right. Hole number 11. And this is also a par 5. One of our 2 holes that we selected. Another 63. So we know that's going to be a swirling wind. All right. I do have a bounce back. And I can take it. Again, with that swirling wind, I'm reluctant to. But, am I going to bogey again before I'm done here? Well, maybe. So I'm going to save my bounce back. Let's see, we got a normal dog leg. We've got a second severe dog leg, which very unlikely to come into play here. Shots landing, rolling beyond the 525 yard mark. Well, that's not going to happen on the tee shot. And short approach is okay. You get that distance penalty again. All right, so let's just hit a driver. I'll aim 5 left. 41 is another 7. So this goes, we had no wind. So 250, left 15, that'll be fairway with 25 roll. Okay, so I saved my bounce back. So 275, left 15, fairway. And that's going to put it right there. And our pin location is right back here. Again, these are all waste areas here. This might actually be a legitimate sand trap. Same with these 2 here. It's hard to tell. Maybe not. I mean, I have to tell you, looking at the colors, I mean, they're not bright white, right? They don't look like this, right? That's how sand traps normally look. Not that that looks tremendously bright white on the screen, but more so than this. It's really, to the naked eye, it's really hard for me to tell. It's just odd to think of this as being a sand trap given its location, but all right. And waste areas are usually a little easier to play from than sand traps. That's why I'm making the distinction. All right, so let's look at the second shot here. And play to 500, what would that do? 230, 4 wood. Yeah, I think we'll do that. And hopefully we won't go way right. Hit a 4 wood. $32 is a 25. We went left. No wind. 485, left 30. I think I'm going to be in some waste area here. Yeah, it's that waste area right there. So no roll. And roll the dice. Got a 2. So that's going to be sand column. So carry objective of 130. So I'm going to knock this shot down for sure. I don't want to knock down a pitching wedge. Look at the gap there, 15 yards. I'm going to knock down a 9-iron. $31 is a 5. Let's see, a 5. And I'm going to use the average eye on that. 605, left 5, no wind. And that's 605, right 5. But unfortunately, 605, left 5 is not on the green. It's right there. So we're going to be on the fairway. And is there any roll? 5 fairway roll. Yep. So this ball's going to roll 5 and going to end up right there. Let's add the 5 roll. All right, we got a short approach. Roll 1 die. All right, same thing we did with, all right, 10 before. Now I could putt from that distance, but that would be a hard putt to get close to. 16 is a 6. That's good. So that ends up being 2, and then we got to add to that. Control D, another 2. Oh, all right, so 4 feet. So we'll just edit that and put that ball on the green. All right, so we got a 4-foot putt here for a par. 21 is a 19. That's in. Yeah, so safe par there. You'll notice that there's not a sand save. Well, there wouldn't be a sand save anyway because from the hitting from the waist area sand column, I didn't even put it on the green. But there's no sand trap either. So when you're hitting from waist areas, those don't, in the game caddy, they don't count as sand traps and or sand saves. All right, so hole number 12. Oh, we're going to have swirling wind yet again. And oh, this is a bad hole to have swirling wind on too, as you'll see in a moment. Okay. All right, let me show you the hole and the pin location. Lots of water here. With the pin location right there, at least it's on the left of the center line. And if you bounce here, you essentially just bounce into the water. So think of the water as extending almost right up to the green because the ball bounces right 10 yards if it's on or right of that dotted line there. All right, so, and we'll play this as a lateral hazard if that situation comes up, but let's hope that it doesn't. And you may see me do some unusual things here to avoid this water, like try to hit the ball over here. Okay, so this hole can be set up to play different distances. I'm just going to ignore all that for right now. Shots landing or rolling in the dune areas right of the dotted line. Yeah, bounce 10 yards right before any other roll. That's what I was talking about before. And then first putts from left of the pin result in 1 column longer than actual distance. So if you haven't made this hole hard enough, we've got swirling wind and all that other stuff going on. All right. So the tee shot is really the least of our problems, I hope. I'm just gonna hit it right down the middle with a 4-wood. Well, it's not gonna go right down the middle. It's a 16. It's gonna go right 20. So 200 right 20. That actually hits the fairway and we get 20 roll. I think we'll be okay. 220 right 20. Yeah, that'll be fairway. 200 right 20 and then 20 roll. That's right there with a good angle. So now we can aim. And we've updated that already. And we had no wind on that. Okay, 185. Definitely have to hit a knockdown. So I may end up being short, which is better than being in the water. I'm going to aim left 15, 20, swirling wind. I'm going to aim left 20. And do I want to hit a 4-iron instead? No, because I want to knock this down. Yeah, because in case it blows me away, right? 5-iron, knock down, 54. Oh boy, is an 18. Not at the right time to get that number. Well, I went way left here. So the wind didn't do anything. So 375 left 35. All right, so I hit the waist area and stop. Okay. Oh, we got to roll here. Yeah. So let's see. Control D. Oh, won't work with that open. There we go. 6. All right. So that's sand column. Okay. And that's just telling me the shot's taken from the sand column. I'm short-sighted. So I can target anywhere along here. Boy, let's read that note again real quick. Let's close that. Shots landing or rolling into the dune areas right of the dotted line. Bounce 10 yards. Okay. Generally speaking, I only use things like that for WI shots. This does say landing or rolling. We don't know how the ball would get there, but if the shot would end up there, and you're playing it as if it could be true for approach shots as well, then you'd end up in the water, right? So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to just target the center of the green is what I'm going to do. So that'll be 10 yards past what the default is. So I'm going to target 410. And we're still, there's not going to be any wind because we're still at 45 yards. Well, the pin, it's going to use the game caddy uses the pin distance, which doesn't change. So there's not going to be any wind for this shot. But that's where we're targeting. And that's at 45. So it's still in the same range here. 24 in the A column is a 5. So this ends up on the center line at 415. So we're pretty far away. That was 410. This is 415. So we're a diagonal and 2 straights away. I want to make sure I got that right. Yeah. Okay. And then roll this. 43 feet. And I forgot to hit the ball and green tool. And are we left of the pin? We were not left of the pin because we were on the center line, so we don't have to deal with that one column longer. All right, we're going to play it safe here. 54 is a 32. That might be okay. No, it's not. It's not. It wasn't a bad enough number. Okay, 7 feet. Okay, and then I'm really surprised at that. Yeah, right there. Okay. 14 is going to be a 14. I think I'm double bogey this hole again. Yeah, double bogey. So did I double bogey? No, this is a par 4. I had a 5 on this. So a bogey, now 1 over for the round. All right. Hole number 13. Wish we could get a break. You know, the wind didn't affect any actual shot there, but it certainly affected the planning of shots. .41, headwind, lose 5. And read all putts 1 column longer. Now can I use my bounce back? Yes, I should be able to do that. I think. All right, so bounce back, because we got lots of water here. Okay, lots of water. We don't want to go right here, right? So if I can make it go 10 to the right instead of over here, that's good. And this is, and if it went really right, this is marsh, which counts as water too. All right, so we're going to use, just use the bounce back. I'm going to put a 6 in there, take the average W, take the shot. So it travels 250, right 10, which is intermediate rough, but that gives us our full 25 roll. So 275, right 10, which pushes us out onto the fairway. And so ball hit here and rolled to there. And our pin location is right there. All right, 235. Wow, 4 wood. 205. 2 iron. Boy, and it got all this water here. Boy, up around the green. This is why I say the back nine is so much harder. We do have we can aim. I may just aim over here. But if I hit a 4 wood, I'm definitely going there. Again, it's really hard to tell whether that's a sand trap or sand waste area. I'm thinking it must be a sand trap. It's maybe a shade lighter than this up here, but not by much. And more importantly, it's not surrounded by deep rough or dunes. It's surrounded by regular rough. So I'm going to play that as a bunker if I end up in just a regular old sand trap if I end up there. So let's play a 2 iron and aim left 15. I'll lose some distance because of that, but distance isn't really my concern. It's the water. 54. This is incredible how this happens. 18. No, that's for an iron shot. 16. So it ends up going right 5. I may just skirt this. So 470, right 5 with 20 roll. So 460, 70, 20 roll, 10, 20. Wow. So that's on the green. It's a diagonal, 2 diagonals and a straight away. I mean, you can see why I aimed 15 left, but I didn't, obviously work out what would happen if I rolled a 54. But in general, that was the thought process that was behind that. All right, 2 diagonals and a straight. And we got to read this 1 column longer, 50 feet. All right, ball and green. Play safe. 26 is an 18. 4. 25 is a 14. So managed to par that hole, thankfully. Big sigh of relief there. All right, let's play hole 14. No wind. All right, thank goodness. And we got all kinds of course notes here. All right, so no wind, and then it says, see APBA course boards for deep bunker rules and other tee options. Okay, basically, if you look at the course, you could tee off from different spots, if you want. We're not going to do any of that stuff. We're just going to hit from the regular tees. If I was playing LPGA or maybe some other specific tournament, I might use one of these. I like having that feature, but I'm not going to use it. And our pin location is right there, and you can see we got a little red line here that runs, behind that. All right, so Add 5 yards to the flight of all tee shots. We'll do that. And 5 yards roll to tee shots that land on the green. We'll do that too. Shots landing in fairway or rough, right or left of the green, roll 10 yards away from the green and stop. Putts putting across the red line, read 2 columns longer than actual, and then read all other putts 1 column longer. Oh, goodness. Well, we don't want to hit long. That's what that tells me. 225. So we'll hit a 2-iron. $12. He has a 6 on that, which is his average W. Take that. And take the shot. So 210 right down the center line with 20 yards roll. So we'll be 1 straight away. Excellent. 12 feet. Well, so we got a crappy die roll for the putt distance, but okay. And so 1 column longer. Let's go for it. 36 again. 24. 3 feet. 61. 13. And we'll par. Okay. Quick hole. Let's move on to hole 15. $51. So we're going to have some more wind, but this time a tailwind. Yep. And we got some hole notes here pertaining to short approaches. And then shots landing in fairway rough right of the green. Okay, bounce left. All right, so we'll deal with that on the second shot. Here's the hole. Here's the pin location right on the center line toward the front there. All right. And we got a gentle dog leg at 270. Which, the game caddy does normally take into account. But when you have that deal distance adjuster tool selected, it does. So I'm going to aim 5 to the left and use the driver. Oh my goodness. 54 is another 16. And no wind. So 245, right 20. And that's actually going to hit the fairway or intermediate rough. So I'm going to put in 30 roll. Again, for people who might be watching me for the first time, I don't get all hung up on what the ball rolls through when we're talking about just regular rough. I just play whatever it lands and count it off from there. Now, of course, if it runs into a waste area, a dune, deep rough, a regular old sand trap, or a tree or something like that, then I won't take the entire roll. I'll adjust it somewhat. But if the ball hits in the fairway or intermediate rough, I'm going to take the full fairway roll, unless one of those other things happens. So we'll add 30 to that. So it's going to end up at 275, right 20. And that is going to put us in the regular rough. And that just saves me the hassle of, having to count all these different squares here and account for missing grid lines and all that other business. It just plays a lot faster. It hardly ever makes a difference. Okay. All right. See what we got here. Okay. So because we're in the regular rough, we got extra 5 carry. Ball's going 5 to the right, and we get a 5 extra green roll on top of everything else. And we're not a short approach shot. We're at 160. So I'm going to hit a 7-iron. Do I want to knock it down? Yes, of course I do. It's gonna go right. Huh. I'm gonna hit a 6-iron knockdown. It's maybe too much club, but I don't have the perfect club here. 53. Oh, okay. Well, that may be a good number. 8. So this goes 425, left 5. That's going to hit in the fairway and get 15 roll. So 425, left 5. I'm going to end up a diagonal away. Right there. $10 feet. Okay. I was looking to see if any other notes applied, but they don't. All right. 10 feet. Let's go for it. 63 is a 26. That's not going to do it. 3 feet. 14. I'm getting these numbers in reverse order. All right. Another par. Hole number 16. Load it. $51, tailwind. All right, so we got 2 dog legs here. The first one's gentle, and second one's gentle too, I believe. But until we get to that second dog leg, you roll right 5 yards for every 15 yards of forward roll. And then the second shot, you lose 5 yards flight if you take it from the left of the center line. This is what I mean about lots of hole notes and how I can slow things down. And then we've got shots from waist area left of the green, and we'll deal with that once we get up there if we have to. Okay, so here's the hole. Here's that second dog leg I was talking about. So until we get there, we roll right 5 for every 15 yards of roll, a fairway roll. So I'm gonna hit the tee shot. It's par 5. I'm gonna hit the tee shot. I think 15 right. I'm gonna lose obviously 5 yards doing that, but I don't want to be in that waist area, and certainly not that water. So 15 right. $12. That's a good number for him though. 6. Okay, and that's his average W, which we'll take. Let's see what the wind does. The wind gives us an extra 5 yards. So 255, right 25, 25 roll. That's what I had, 10, 25. So I'm going to be a 280, right 25 in the fairway. Oh, wait a minute. I go right 5, don't I? I forgot what I said about that. So I'm going to end up in the intermediate rough because for every 15 roll. Yeah. So we'll put a 5 right there and put the 25 there. And 280 right 30 is intermediate rough. And the lie got changed to regular rough. Okay, by our lie roll. So it's not good being here. There's bad things that happen up here. So we want to maybe hit to the 500 yard mark tops. 500. It's 230. 4 would barely get you to that spot. We do have a tailwind, which could blow us a little bit farther. I'm going to play it a little bit conservatively and hit a 2-iron. And we lose 5 yards. We're not left of the center line. Okay. 36 again. 16. He's got a lot of those on his card. 470 left 25. 20 roll. All right, that's intermediate rough. 10, 20. Oops. And man, that's close. That's so close, I could say intermediate rough, but I'm going to call it regular rough. All right, so let's add the 20 there. So 490. Oh, wait a minute. Because of that gentle dog leg, things get adjusted a little bit. So we're definitely in the regular rough. 490, left 25 is regular rough. Yeah. We got an extra 5 yards because of the dog leg distance adjuster. Okay, we're in the regular rough, 90 yards with a good angle. There's pin 5. Select that. I'll just go for that. Go for the pin. 53 is a 5. So 575 on the center line. That should be one diagonal away. So let's look at this. 10, 25. Yep, right there. One diagonal. Because we're hitting from the south. One diagonal. 15 feet for a birdie opportunity here. After having a bad break on our tee shot with that regular rough. All right, 15 feet. 64, 23. That's not going to be good enough. 3 feet. 22. In reverse order again. All right, another par. All right. All right. Well, this isn't so far turned into a disaster anyway. Had a rough patch there. 17. That's why when you play this course, you want to get as far under par as you can on the front 9 because of what lurks on the back 9, including hole number 17. Thankfully, no wind. Okay. All right. So let's take a look at this hole here. Got our pin location over here by the water. You can see, man, look at this. 10 yards off, you're in the water. Certainly 15 yards off, you're in the water. This is, and the length of the hole is such that it's not like you can use a 5-iron or something. I mean, you got to hit a club that has some dispersion. So it's easy to put the ball in the water on this hole. Unless you work the ball way left, in which case you got no chance of birdieing the hole. But we have no wind. All first putts from back to front of green result in one column longer. Well, that would be an unusual occasion with that pin placement. So 235, 4 wood, 2-iron. What is this? So 185, 195, 205. That's still in the water right there, I think. You might argue that that's not in the water. It's right at the base. 205. Wow. I'm going to hit a 4-wood. Now, am I going to work it left or right? No, I'll just hit a 4-wood. What happens, happens. 33. Well, I didn't go left or right. It went way long. I'd have been better off with a 2-iron. 4-iron, a 4. So this is going to go 240, right 10. Where's that going to be? The hole's at 235. Okay. So 240, right 10. That's 2. So it hits on the fairway and it gets at least 10 rolls. So I'm going to say the ball is going to be in that spot right there. I'll go ahead and put the marker there. I'll double check that, of course, but I'm pretty sure it's going to get 10 roll. Yeah, hits in the fairway, it would get 15, but it gets stopped by whatever that is there. I'm going to say that that's dunes, which is buried lie. And I'll mark it as that, but it won't make any difference because we're so close. So we're at 250, right 10, rough buried. That's how you would play a shot in the dunes on this course. It's an automatic buried lie, so just click on that. But because of our distance, 15 to the pin, in approach range, a buried lie doesn't amount to anything in the current version of APBA Golf. All right, and see, you get this little message, but it won't affect the shot. 15. 50. This is insane. 54 is a 20. You don't see these come up for the wind roll ever, do you? Just the shot rolls. 20. Okay. So it's going to be 9 feet away, and we don't know where that is, so we don't have to deal with this front to back business. But it's going to make it really hard to get a par here. 64 again. 23 is going to miss by 1. 55, 8. The pattern here is just incredible to me. All right, so we got a bogey on that. We're now 2 over par. And let's load the last hole, hole 18. Despite the fact that I'm whinging a little bit here towards the end because of the difficulty of the back 9, I'm actually not too unhappy with this round or with this course. I like it better than Seaside, I will tell you that. Of course, I'm playing with somebody who probably is better than the typical player who would play this course too, meaning O'Meara. 56 is a tailwind. We have had our share of wind today. It's kind of been an all or none thing. All right. I don't have any more bounce backs. So let's take a look at the hole. Hole location is way back here. It's a long par 4. I'm going to aim 10 left. Okay, let's just play. 16. Everybody all together. 16. So 250, right 15. That's going to put it in the regular rough, and I'll get 15 roll. Thankfully, no trees here to deal with. So 265, right 15, regular rough. Okay. All right. So tee shots landing, rolling past dog leg. Well, that didn't happen. Shots landing in the right rough. Oh, bounce 5 yards right before taking any roll. I didn't do that. Would that make a difference? It would not, but I'll move it 5 to the right. Okay. We'll put that 5 in there. I should have read these first. All right. And then shots landing in dune area is right of fairway. Well, we didn't land in the dune area. All right. Oops. What am I doing? Oh, I've already updated it. That's why this is off. All right. So this needs to be right 20. And I can't just edit that to make it right 20. I have to use the place ball location tool. So again, this won't make any real difference, but I'm going to go ahead and do it. Erase the shot. So 265 right 20 is what I need. Place ball and regular rough. All right. And what do we got here? 250. I'm just going to hit a 4-wood and smack it. 56. This is not a 54, but it's a 17. So it's about the same. 480 left 25. I'm not sure where this hits. 480, left 25. So 10, 25. It's going to hit the rough. And then let's put some light on this. It's going to go 5 yards into the waist area. All right. And roll. And we get a 1. So that's going to play like regular rough or the rough column. So we got a little break there. And waist area is not the same as the dune area. That shot's taken from the regular rough. So that's a little bit of a break. Okay, we're 30. We're short-sighted though. So unfortunately, here's our target. I think I'm going to target here, just so no matter what happens within reason, it's gonna end up on the green. So I'll back it off 505, hitting from the, oh, I don't want to do that. I want to hit from the south. So I got to start over. Hit from the south, and now 505, 30, 53 is a 5. So -5, right or left 5. Okay, so we're hitting from the south, and we were targeting that spot. So we got to go back 5, and I can go that way. So it's going to be a diagonal and a straight. I'm going to have another bogey here. 28 feet. I'm going to go for it. 42, not a great roll. 23, leave me 5 feet away. 63 is a 26. Did I get too greedy? Yeah, at least I didn't double bogey. I got a bogey there. All right. So let's take a look at the round here. It played easy on the front 9, and this has been my experience with this course. 2 under on the front 9, 5 over on the back 9. So a total of 3 over for the day. 57% fairways. There's plenty of fairways to hit on this course. 67% greens in regulation, which normally is pretty good. We weren't actually in any real sand traps. We were in some waste areas, but no sand traps. So no sand saves. Driving distance for the 2 holes, that was hole 7 and 11, I believe, averaged 273. Longest drive was 290, not all that long. 22-yard, 22-foot putt made was the longest. Total of 82, that's about average. And then 266 was the average driving distance for all non-par 3 holes. So about a 7-yard difference between these two. Okay, so this was I think probably a pretty good example of a representative round of playing on Palmetto Island. It's a all in all, I like this course. I might be a little bit biased, because it's quote unquote in my backyard. But one thing I like is you're not having to deal with a lot of trees, and you didn't see me once get a ruler out to measure whether or not I was blocked by trees. So there are a few trees on this course, but that didn't come up in what we played. So I liked that aspect of it. You've got greens that are of decent size, so that you have the chance of having pretty good greens in regulation. You have a lot of waste area, which is not as punitive as deep rough can be, as an example. So a lot of courses you've got where you've got deep rough, and if you hit that off the tee, then you have no chance of making it to the green in regulation, because you're going to be limited, to a pitching wedge, or in some cases you'd be limited to a 7-iron if you have a buried lie in a regular rough. But you do have a fair amount of water, which makes it a little bit tense at times, and you've got that water right up against greens, so it makes you have to play either go for broke or play really conservatively. You saw me playing mostly conservatively, and did not get any penalty strokes during this match. But I've had matches where I've played under par on this course. I think, and again, I haven't played it that many times, but I've been as much as 3 under par for 18 holes, and I've been as much as 10 over par for 18 holes. The latter being, again, on a blustery day. And I think I had soaked course conditions with that. Not 100% positive, but that may have been the case because I know I've played it under those conditions. All right. So that's Palmetto Island. I hope you enjoyed the video. Leave some comments. Give me a thumbs up if you like it. If you get to the end of the video, if you like the course, buy it from APBA. I'm enjoying playing it. Hope you will too. Until next time, grip it and rip it.